and welcome to the BCM Podcast. I am Brad Swail down here at the bottom. We got Charles Blain at the top left and Michael Searle on the top right. All of our Twitter handles, X handles are there in our bio. And if you're listening instead of watching like a crazy person, then they're down in the description. You can find us. Go follow us there. We are a weekly podcast, and we are talking about national, state, and local politics and news. Not always politics. UFOs, those don't count as politics, right?
Yes,
Michael?
I do.
They definitely do.
When they are, well, are they?
Everything is political.
That's
They
true.
became very political in the last couple of months.
Well, they also are making agreements with our government. So
yeah, they are the puppet. They are the puppet masters.
But today we might talk a little bit about UFOs. Today we got, of course, the Colorado Trump ruling, male loneliness, are moderate mayors a trend or glitch in the Matrix, a UFO caught on camera hovering over Air Force One at LAX, and is Michael Searle on the Epstein client list?
You can't say we're maybe going to talk about UFOs and then introduce UFOs as a topic. That I think
we only have limited time here because someone has to get a haircut.
Wow.
I won't say which one of us it is, but
it's evident. It's evident, clearly, especially because Black people have to get haircuts once a week or every 7 to 10 days.
Listen, that is not evident. As a white man, I've never once heard that a Black man has to get a haircut that often. Certainly that's not a universal rule. That can't be possible.
Have you asked?
No, but why would I?
Okay, then.
I am told constantly on social media that Black people don't like to be asked about their hair.
We don't like to have our hair touched, and that's only some of us. However, speaking of hair, they passed that Crown Act thing that prohibited people from being fired or discriminated against on their hair. But Barbers Hill ISD keeps suspending this kid over his dreadlocks, and I don't hear any legislators talking about it. Very funny how that works.
I don't understand. He's being suspended because of his dreadlocks?
No, they're too long, and they violate their hair policy.
Well, I mean, does that go against the Crown Act?
Is this like I'm picturing like a young white hippie kid with dreadlocks, or are we talking about? Is that what we're talking about?
No,
Charles
he's Black, and he's Black, and he's a football player and has dreadlocks, and they're not even that long. They're like, I think, shoulder length. And he was suspended a couple times last year. Then they passed the law, and then they thought that would be it, but it is not it.
Well, Charles, I will say that I cut my hair more often than you, but even if you didn't get your haircut today, you look great. Okay, bud?
Thank you. I greatly appreciate that.
I really would not have. If you asked me, hey, Brad, do I need a haircut? I would have said no, absolutely not. I don't. Why would you need one? Your hair is very short. But I don't know how it works. I obviously don't have any. So I don't even know how Michael's hair works. So which one do we want to jump in on first? Did I forget to say anything? Subscribe, do all that stuff too? So. Michael's over there thinking he's the professional. Subscribe, do all that stuff, share it with friends, and we'll say that again at the end. There's a subscribe button, a notification button. You've been on YouTube before. You've used Apple Podcasts. You've used Spotify. You know how to do that stuff. We shouldn't have to ask you, but we're going to ask you anyway. So go do that now because we do this weekly, and you're not going to miss it. Michael's going to talk about UFOs every week. He's not going to do that. We might. Who knows?
I'm going to try. I'm definitely going to try.
Yes. So what are we doing first? We're going to start with the biggest news. We're going to go national first. Male loneliness is not really I don't know where that falls. I mean, maybe that just falls within these four walls. You know what I mean?
Maybe. You just never know. We could start wherever. You want to start there?
Let's start with male loneliness. I think that's a good place to start. Get people caught up. Get their attention.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this came up because I asked you how many close friends you had, and it was because I was doing this research project on an article, and research, but not research in this group because clearly this group didn't comply with what I was finding. But most research shows that men today, 27% of men today, can only name 6 close friends. Back in 30 years ago, I think it was 55% of men had 6 or more close friends. 15% of men today say they have 0 close friends, and that's a 500% increase in, I think it's the past 30 years, which is crazy.
I have 2 questions off the bat.
Yes.
What is a close friend?
Well,
we
we
already defined that.
Yes.
Well, hold on, stop. No, we can get to that in a second. Let's stop it. Slow down. What in these researchers, they're saying, okay, they can hardly guys today can hardly name 6 close friends, right? They have a definition for that, right? Or is it just based on how you feel? Like, I feel like this guy's a close friend, I'll include him.
Well, I mean, I think that's how else do you determine a close friend if it's not how you feel? I think it's a subjective answer.
We came up with a litmus test.
Right, but it's a subjective answer because some people have close friends who they believe are close friends, but would never even think of hiding a body for them. So it just depends on what you consider a close friend.
I think hiding a body, that's a fun litmus test, right? How many people can you rely on? Hey, for whatever reason, let's say it doesn't have to be nefarious. Hey, I got a dead body in my house and I need you to help me bury it.
It doesn't have to be nefarious. Hey, I have a dead body.
Accidents happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Accidents happen, and I don't know, maybe you're getting a background check by the FBI. Who knows, right? And you really want that job at the NSA. I guess, right? Why else would you not want people to know that's not nefarious? I don't fucking know, man.
I can't think of one reason. But
one reason why a person would die in your house and it would not be nefarious?
No, that you would then need to hide it. I mean, if it's not nefarious, then call. Actually, there have been too many movies about someone dying somewhere in a not nefarious way, and then you call the police, and now you're framed for a murder.
This looks like you did it, Charles.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give that to you.
You're holding a knife, and they slip, and the knife goes straight into your heart.
I wasn't thinking about that way, but I think there are other ways.
You didn't put up a floor is wet sign, right? And they slip, and the knife goes straight into the heart. They're dead.
It's the end of it.
You didn't do it. It's not nefarious. It was an accident. Who are you going to call?
Not Ghostbusters.
You're not going to call the police?
Yeah. Call them the 6 close friends, apparently. Get them to do something.
What are the implications of this?
Death.
What?
I mean, truly,
yeah.
when you boil it down, it's so kind of the point of the research is, what comes from not having close friends, which then leads to loneliness and isolation, which then can lead to high stress, which then could lead to cardiovascular irregularities, which could lead to strokes. And so you do see a lot this kind of long form connection between loneliness and self-isolation and all death by all forms, all mortalities. And also, I mean, in the big one, suicide. I mean, suicide is obviously the biggest one. One of the stats I was looking at the other day when I was working on this was suicide among men is, I think it's 80% higher than it's either 40 to 80% higher. So men make up 49% of the population, but 80% of the suicides. And suicides are higher among men who have no known history of mental illness, which indicates that it's higher among men who are not being treated for any sort of mental illness. And so, I mean, it can lead to a lot of negative things.
Drug abuse. Yeah, drug abuse. Yeah, lots of things. It seems to me that there's a simple and elegant solution here to the problem.
Do tell.
Before I get to my solution, is it age specific? Are we talking about 20 to 30-year-olds, or are we talking about?
It kind of said adult age, and it ranged from 18 to 49. But then it also said that men above 49, and specifically in that retirement age, have an even bigger epidemic of it, and they're trying to find ways to combat it. So it's really just kind of all men after they leave protective social institutions that would encourage friendships. So anytime after college, really.
We just need to take the screens away.
I don't disagree. I think that's a big problem.
How on earth is this podcast going to be successful if we take screens away?
It's true.
The follow-up question is, Brad, how many men have to die for this podcast to be successful? And the answer is all of them.
Well, I say it tongue in cheek, but I think that I don't know the answer, but my intuition tells me that most of the drivers of this are video games, social media, porn, all the things that they're consuming on screens that mirror probably personal connection or intimate relationships, but aren't them.
Right.
And that's what's driving the loneliness, because they're, online playing video games. No judgment. But if you're online playing video games, you call those people your friends. They're not, you play video games with them. They're not really your friends. Or porn obviously gives the illusion of intimacy or a sexual relationship. And then social media, the same thing. Whereas when we were boys, we didn't have that stuff. And we were just like running around with our neighborhood friends, right?
Get outside and don't come home till the street lights come on.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't have obviously we had to improvise. We didn't have a million different shows and movies to watch at our fingertips with no commercial breaks. We had to actually, I don't know, find a stick outside and, see, like, pretend sword fight or whatever the hell we did. Right. Mm-hmm. But I don't know that it's the screens certainly don't help. I don't know. We have screens and we have friends, right? Is it age related? Is how you're raised?
No, it says that. So it said that boys and girls maintain friendships at the same rate at a young age. When you're in these protective social institutions, school, sports, things like that. Then afterwards, you start to see this big divide where girls who become women maintain those friendships at a higher rate than boys as they transition into men. They start, because they don't invest as much in these friendships. I don't know why you keep looking and what's going through your mind.
I'm wondering about what about the boys that transition into women.
But the other thing that they do say is that when you look at things like the decline in church participation, people use church as social institutions to make friendships. The later age at which people are getting married, they pointed specifically to the fact that guys who are married and have families will typically either benefit from the wife's social structure as she builds it out, or just their family will be the social structure, whereas women will still kind of build those. And so getting married later delays that social structure, or if they get divorced or the woman dies, they kind of just lose their entire social structure. And so there are so many different reasons, I think, that are speculated. And I think they're all true in their own different ways.
That seems like a downstream consequence to me, but maybe I'm just being stubborn, because these social behaviors that are playing out in early adulthood, they probably stem from development, right? They didn't develop those skills of building bonds with friends and like how to do that. And we've seen, I don't know. I read the book Coddling the American Mind by Jonathan Haidt. It's about social media. It's a great book.
It is.
I try to get my, it's about women more than men. And it draws a direct correlation between the onset of social media and the mental condition and state of American women. So I would think that this is probably just the consequence on the male side of similar dynamics, but I'm not an expert, so I don't know.
Well, some of the research shows that women will women's relationships are built more around kind of emotional aspects and kind of bonding in that sense, where a lot of guys have their relationships built on more transactional things, whereas like, oh, let's go fix this car together, let's go hiking, let's go shooting, let's go do these things. And because of that transactional aspect, they more infrequently will just pick up the phone and call their friend, have an hour-long conversation, or have a long text conversation, whereas women will, and they'll kind of keep those bonds as strong. Now, I know that we're all outliers. Like, I have friends who I talk to regularly, like my best friend Aleko, I'm his kid's godfather. I FaceTime them like 3 times a week or something, but that's, I think, a little bit of an outlier. And so, but yeah, so they kind of intentionally invest more in maintaining those friendships, whereas I don't think we see that on the flip side.
Will AI replace friends?
Yes,
probably for some. Yeah, I think we've seen
movies,
games and movies and all this stuff already start to replace friends, and so I wouldn't be surprised if AI
girlfriends.
I think I know Michael's answer to this is that predictive programming.
Predictive programming?
Yeah. AI girlfriends, AI friends in movies and games? Do you think that's predictive programming?
I don't understand the question.
What? How are you not? How do we even talk to you about conspiracies and what's really going on behind the scenes? You don't know what predictive programming is, Michael.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God.
I try to keep up, you know. There's a lot of information.
I think you probably know what it is.
Okay.
Just you may not know the term, but they would put in this scenario, they're putting AI girlfriends in movies and video games, and they're getting people used to the idea of that happening in real life, right? I think with 9/11 there was predictive programming, heavy air quotes, and the X-Files about the Twin Towers, right? And X-Files could be predictive programming for aliens. They're predicting it's a kooky thing, right? And so when the aliens come up, right, they think, oh, you're just an X-Files freak. What are you talking about?
You're talking
about a lot of information, right?
Yeah, you're talking about Project Mockingbird.
Well, that Project Mockingbird, I'm sure has plays a part in it, but predictive programming is getting people. It's like all this talk about the Netflix movies. What's the one with the Obamas? We talked about it last week. What's it called again?
Get away.
Get out of here.
Get left. Leave the world behind.
Leave the world behind. I was close enough. Get out of here. Talking about cyber attacks. Could be predictive programming for a cyber attack, right? Yeah. And there's one about Civil War coming out next year or something like that.
It's true. Yeah. Well, maybe that's true. I just think the logical consequence or the logical next step sequence to the male loneliness epidemic is they're going to seek out easy companionship. And if there's AI opportunity, I know I was listening to a podcast the other day. There's already AI girlfriends out in the world. It reminds me of that movie. What was it called? It was the Gosling, Lars something. He gets a blow up doll as a girlfriend. He's like taking it around to his family and showing it off. Like that's where.
Can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Why? That's where this.
I know why that. Well, I know why it happened because it came through on my computer too.
It seems that's where this is going to go.
Wouldn't be surprised. We're heading down that way fast. You got those
that was
VR
my
glasses things. Yeah.
Are those do people use those? I don't think so. That was my AI girlfriend.
They're not as expensive as I was looking the other day. They're not as expensive as I thought they were. I mean, they're like $500, which is, not exactly cheap, but I thought those things were like $3,000 or something.
The Apple ones are expensive, I thought.
Oh, are they? I don't know what brand I was looking at. I just kind of Googled because I was curious.
Well, anyhow, let's move on.
Yes.
I think we've beaten this dead horse.
Ain't that the truth?
Ain't that the truth? All right. So let's see. We'll talk. How about that Trump ruling? How about Colorado? What's going on here? What's the real play? I know Michael's got a great theory on this.
They want to delegitimize the court so that they can add more members to it. That would be my simple explanation.
Delegitimize the Supreme Court. The federal Supreme Court, not the Colorado Supreme Court.
Yeah, there's already momentum to add. They call it packing the court, add members to the court. If they file this lawsuit, which they know is frivolous because it's so ridiculous, then it goes to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court shuts it down very quickly, probably in February, and then the Democrats can go, see, the Supreme Court is political. They're Trump sycophants, and we need to add more members.
I can believe it.
Yeah. Do they think that? Surely they think that far ahead, right?
Yeah, probably further.
Uh-oh. What's after that?
I don't know. I just the maybe unintended consequences is independence. I'm a conservative libertarian kind of independent. I'll vote for whoever I think the best candidate is. They're just cementing my support for Trump. It's like they're just solidifying it. And I think you see that in all the polls. Like, this is ridiculous. It says, and I quote from article or a 14th Amendment, if you just scroll past section 3 where it talks about insurrection, what they're charging him on, section 5 says, quote, the Congress shall have power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article, period. Not the state courts, not the Supreme Court, the Congress. So if there's an insurrection and it disqualifies someone, Congress has to lay out legislation that says this was an insurrection, this disqualifies Trump, not the Colorado Supreme Court. It's just
we've deferred so much power to the Supreme Court, to the bureaucracy of the rulemaking bureaucracy over the years. It's not surprising that these people are taking full advantage of the fact that Congress does not act or do anything, and they just kind of run roughshod over it. I mean, the amount of power we've given the courts and the bureaucracy and have taken from Congress and essentially the people, because you were giving it to these unelected people, is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and this is the result of it.
So what happens when neither Biden nor Trump are on the ballot?
Then we get, I guess, Nikki Haley and Gavin Newsom. I don't know.
I don't know. So the Supreme Court, all right, the Supreme Court says, what are you talking about, Colorado? It's fine. Like, what are you doing? He's fine. He can run. He's fine. And then all the other states, they'll try to find other ways to do the exact same thing, right? Surely they're not going to just give up there. Or maybe they go the whole court packing route. Or maybe it gets so upsetting for everybody that, someone goes and pulls the trigger because they're stopping Hitler, right? What happens then? And Biden is, I don't know. Who knows what Biden's doing at this point? He can barely walk.
Well, I think we're going to see this retaliation, because I saw some talk. Was it Lieutenant Governor saying, "Oh, we should pull Biden off the ballot in Texas"? I feel like this is kind of like the impeachment thing. When you start impeaching folks for kind of reasons that are less than impeachment worthy, you start seeing it go back and forth, back and forth. Well, I think you see this now. You're going to start seeing people be like, "Oh, we should move him off the ballot because he's not fixing the border," or "We should move this person off this ballot because he said something mean." And we're just going to start seeing it happen left and right. And I guess until the Supreme Court actually acts and kind of draws a line in the sand, it's going to happen. And maybe, they're supposed to act because this is getting kicked up to them now. So maybe they nip this in the bud before we even get down that road. But this is certainly going to start a chain of events. If they allow this to stand, it'll start this chain of events where people are doing that.
Now, Michael, they know that there are plenty of people like you, independents, quote unquote, that heavy, who this is just sort of solidifying Trump. That you're not unique in that. I'm sorry to say, Michael, you're unique in many ways, but not in that way. No. Now, they know this. They know it wholeheartedly. It's all over the place. Are they doing this, do you think, because, all right, we're actually going to keep Trump on. He's the guy we want to run against, because he's the only one that we can rile up our base against. He's the only one that Democrats will 100%, all of the Democrats, all of them will vote against Trump. I don't know if that's true, but maybe that's what they're thinking.
I think that's their theory. I think there are flaws in their theory. We're not dealing with geniuses here. I think they're pot committed more than anything. Like, they've already gone pot committed.
What does that mean?
It's a poker term where you've put in so much of your stack, even if you're bluffing, you got to just put it all in.
Oh, pot committed. Okay.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, we call that denied till you die. You just kind of like stick with whatever it is and you just keep going.
Yeah, I think a little bit of it is just they're pot committed. They've decided the strategy is try to make everybody think Trump is Hitler, and they just got to go full-fledged on that. I don't, or maybe they're right. Maybe the turnout will be so high that gives them the best chance to win. Gives them the best chance to win in November. I just don't, what is their alternative to doing everything they can? I mean, they've indicted him. The Democrats, man, and I don't mean this about my Democrat friends, but just like the national Democrats, like, they've indicted him 4 times for, stupid stuff. Now they're trying to take him off the ballot. And then on their side, they just canceled 4 primaries on the Democratic side in Florida, Tennessee, and a couple other states.
Wait, what?
Yeah. These people there's something wrong with them.
What do you mean
my Democrat friends. They will not hold primary elections on the Democratic side in 4 states.
Wait, even for down ballot candidates or just for presidential elections?
Presidential.
Okay.
Presidential.
What's the reasoning?
Because they don't have candidates and they're claiming that Biden's their nominee. So they're just like taking the opportunity from anyone else.
Because Biden is going to save democracy.
Is it Marianne Williamson or whatever? Crystal lady?
Dean Phillips.
Aren't they also?
Uyghur.
I forgot about Chank.
But they have those. I mean, all the primaries have these barriers to entry, and I don't know if these people qualify or don't qualify, whatever the case may be. But I'm sure they're using some sort of loose justification, not that it's right, but they're trying to say that it. But I mean, it's not very different from Trump being like, well, I guess this was more the RNC saying like, we're not going to have a platform. Our platform's Trump's platform. Like, it's just like, okay, great, thanks.
Well, you're not disenfranchising voters.
I mean, you are, because you have people who go to the convention to vote on what their platform's going to be.
Oh, well, you're
disenfranchising. And they're elected by the voters at the primary election.
You're disenfranchising the nerds that go to those.
No, you vote for these people in your primaries to go and represent you. Yes, they are nerds.
Well, no, I'm kidding. It's fine. Whatever. Vivek, you guys know Vivek. It rhymes with cake. He put out a tweet that I think is alluding to all of this, and it's not very straightforward, and I'm wondering if you guys can pick it apart a little bit. I have a theory about who he's talking about. He says, if you really think they, and again, air quotes, they are going to let either Trump or Biden get anywhere near the finish line, open your eyes, folks. There's something deeper going on. It's staring us right in the face. What does that mean?
The deep state.
No, but okay, but who are they going to put up? It's not Trump.
I mean, why would they not? Why would they be fearful of Biden getting to the finish line? Like, why would anybody be fearful of that? I don't know.
Why would that's because he can't win?
Well, I mean, okay, but if the deep state can do all that, they can't steal an election.
I think
make him win.
I think he's talking. Well, they did it once. Am I right? I think that they. I think he's talking about Nikki Haley.
Yeah.
You think Nikki Haley's doing it?
No. Is Nikki Haley stealing the election? I don't know.
Wait, what do you mean he's talking about Nikki Haley? I mean,
he's saying you're crazy if you think it's going to be Trump v. Biden come election time. It's actually going to be Nikki Haley v. Hillary, and you're not actually going to have a choice because they're the same person.
Why do you keep bringing up Hillary? It's not Hillary
because he thinks she's one of the potential people who's going to be nominated.
There's no chance that witch is getting anywhere near another campaign.
Okay,
you never know. I mean,
there's no way, Michael.
I disagree.
She thinks she deserves to be president. I wouldn't be entirely surprised.
No, sure, yeah, okay, fine. She thinks that she can think that all day long, but there's no possible way that they're going to let her run.
There is no possible way. You can make the case that it's a low probability, but it's not a 0% chance.
Okay, I'm speaking colloquially, all right? I'm not like, this is not a data class, a science class. I'm not speaking in absolutes. Yes, when I say there's no possible way, I'm not.
It's possible, but it's unlikely.
I know it's possible.
So we're saying the same thing.
All of the other Democrats could die, and it would be Hillary Clinton would be the only one. It's possible, I guess.
She already has a body count.
She does, and we're not. And
I don't know that. Before you go there, Brian. I don't know. I mean, yes, Hillary Clinton and Nikki Haley are very similar. I think Vivek is just trying to like. I know that Vivek is very popular among people. He just something about him I do like, but then it does not seem authentic.
Well, what do you think about this? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I hear that a lot from people, right? He says all the right things and it's hard to trust him and all this, it seems too polished and he's sort of weaselly, whatever. I get it. Okay, fine. But on this Colorado thing, he's like, all right, I'm out. I'm not going to be in the Colorado primary because I don't think that that's right. I'm going to protest this decision by taking my name off the list. If he has a chance to win, he doesn't want to win that way, right?
Well,
how many? Okay, well, you don't know that. How many Trump voters would go for Vivek over Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis?
No, I don't think enough to make him win.
5? You would, right? Me too, right? And I don't know that it's enough, but still, it's the right thing to do. He's spent a lot of money and a lot of time, trying to get support, and I think that's the stand-up right thing to do. To
pull yourself off the ballot.
In that case, yes.
I don't know. I don't.
You win by asterisk.
But you're pulling yourself off the ballot. One, you're giving primary voters fewer options, and 2, you're just doing it because you just want to do something. He's not actually doing it because he thinks it's like the principled stance. He's doing it because it's going to appeal to Trump voters, because he's going to be the one like, oh, I'm standing with Trump.
What's the point of appealing to Trump voters?
And so if they all pull themselves off the ballot and then leave Chris Christie, like, okay, what is in that moment, what does proving a point mean? Like, why?
We'll get an election map with Chris Christie arms up. We won.
Here's the thing that you're missing here, Brad. Vivek has nothing to lose.
Okay.
Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis have some delusion still in their minds that they can beat Trump in a primary. Vivek understands that he can't. So he understands power politics. By doing that, he's just drawing attention to himself and forcing Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley into an untenable position.
Yes.
Because they either have to follow him where he shows himself as the leader, or they have to defy him and defy Trump voters in the process. So they're stuck with two bad choices. He gets strategy and he has nothing to lose, because I don't think he thinks he's going to win. He's making a longer term play. The other two are in a bad position, and he created that scenario by doing that.
What he's doing is he's making them either say, like you said, that he's the leader and they're going to follow his lead, or that they're the establishment working to under whatever Trump. And so the problem is that, and undergird is not the right word there. I couldn't think of the word I was looking for. The problem is that DeSantis, like the second he did that, he's like, DeSantis needs to get out. It's like, why? Like, if you're doing that because you're standing on a principled stance, then do that. Why are you now pressuring DeSantis to get out? So that he follows you, or so that you can then start lobbing insults at him? Like, what is the point of this? What is the point of this? And so that's my frustration. Like, if you actually believe this is a problem, you stay in the race. If you believe this is a problem and you don't think Trump should be the nominee, which you obviously don't think so because you're running against him, then you stay in the race and you win, and then you fix this problem of the deep state trying to get people out. You don't pull yourself out and then let the deep state win.
And here's a question. Did it accomplish his goal, though?
We don't know yet. Maybe.
Oh,
right?
I totally think it did. Did you see Ron DeSantis mumbling on TV about?
No, I saw the clip. I saw the screenshot of it. I didn't see it though. But no, you're right. It did accomplish his goal one way or the other, because either way, they're forced to make a choice, and neither of those choices look good for them. So yes, his goal was accomplished.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that y'all are both kind of proving my point in different ways.
Wait, what's your point?
Well, but the point is against your point. Yours that you don't trust him, you don't like him. He's not really like, So Michael's saying that, okay, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, they still have this delusional thought that they can win and take power. There's a lot of narcissism there, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm sure Vivek is plain narcissistic. I don't care, but he understands reality, right? He understands I'm not going to beat Trump, right? I can actually pull out, and I can, do it's the right thing to do, I think, right? He's not delusional. He's not a crazy person. He doesn't think that he's, he can rule that he's the only person that can, I don't know. It seems like if you're in it, Charles, you say, if you're in it, you're trying to win. You think that you should be the nominee, right? But he's pulling himself out. So I don't know how you can pull yourself out and also think you're the nominee.
Well, no. I mean, if you're in the race in general, if you're in the primary running against Donald Trump, the reason you are doing so is because outwardly you're projecting that you disagree with him on something and don't think he should be the nominee. That is why he's in it.
Or you want to sell bucks, or you want to be VP, or you want to be
right. But outwardly you're projecting that you disagree with him on something. Otherwise you would do something else. Like you would just be his number one spokesperson or something like that. But like outwardly the projection is that you bring something to the table that these other candidates don't. And that is why you're running. I think he pulled himself out because a part of that broader strategy is to take himself out of this and still appeal to Trump voters. So like, it's not that he's pulling himself out because he's on this principled stance. He's pulling himself out because it's a part of a broader strategy. And I don't trust him necessarily. I think he says a lot of the right things, but when I watch him and when I see what he says and when I see how he moves, it is not genuine. It is very calculated every step of the way. Do I think he believes some of the stuff he says? Sure, I do. But I think it's also similar to how Trump originally said, like, if I was years ago in the 90s or whatever, if I was going to run for president, I'd run as a Republican because they're stupid or something like that, whatever he said. It's this idea that he's like, I can appeal to this base. This is what I need to say, do, and how I need to act. This is the vest I need to put on with my logo right here. I need to wear these boots. I need to go to these primary states. He's moving through all these actions because he knows what he needs to do.
I think you're describing a candidate for president.
Yes, I am, but I'm.
Well, not Nikki Haley. She just takes up wildly unpopular positions without even any amount of hesitation within the Republican Party. I think he is describing it, and I think that dynamic exists. But what Trump changed about the Republican Party in a large way was that the figurehead actually represents the interest of the voters, whereas prior to him, I think there was a larger disconnect between what Republican primary voters actually want and how the leadership is governing. And I actually think what Trump did is he brought it a little bit closer. Is that inauthentic, or is that, if I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, that's like, well, that's what you're supposed to be doing, right?
Well, I think when he started, he was just saying whatever he felt and whatever he believed in that moment. And that's what that rawness and that authenticity is, I think, what pulled people towards him. Nothing, it wasn't all poll tested. It wasn't all this. He was like, this is what I believe. It happens to align with a very large, angry portion of this base. I'm going to have to check off some boxes, but like, this is who I am. I don't think Vivek's doing the same thing. I think he's like, this is where the base is. This is what I need to say to appeal to them.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And some of those things he believes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think he's talking about Nikki Haley.
I agree, probably.
I think that it seems like the establishment is pushing pretty hard for Nikki Haley. I get that in my gut.
I think so. I mean, you see all these posts lately of her meteoric rise in the polls and all this stuff. It's like, all right. It seems like that's what I might even think that the establishment might want Nikki Haley before they want Joe Biden. Mm-hmm.
Don't all speak at once, guys.
No, I agree. She's as Tucker Carlson put it, she's a creation of the oligarchs.
Well, there you go. When Tucker Carlson speaks about creation of the oligarchs, talking about aliens?
Might be, he won't tell us.
As oligarchs, where are those aliens from?
Oligarchia.
Nikki Haley is definitely not from this planet. For sure not. She's okay. We don't need to bash her. I'm not going to kick down. I'm going to kick sideways.
Well, no, I mean, I think you make a good point though about the aliens. Like, that's our next topic, right? I think you make a great point. I
mean, let's see, I think we can talk a little bit about aliens. There was I don't know. I wonder if Michael has really delved deep into this one, but there was a UFO caught on camera hovering over Air Force One at LAX during Joe Biden's fundraising trip to Los Angeles. Do you believe it?
Yeah. Well,
yes,
go ahead, Charles. I was obvious.
Go ahead, Michael.
Well, I'll just say real quick, just to add a piece. In the Daily Mail article, it says that there was an LAPD helicopter up there circling it because they were like, what the heck is this thing? But yeah. Go ahead, Charles.
I was going to say, I think it's probably a drone. Because like, I feel like if I believe in UFOs.
Drones?
I believe in UFOs. They can have drones. They probably made drones. I believe in UFOs. But like, I feel like if it's hovering over Air Force One, they're going to get some better like footage of it, or they're going to shoot that thing down or something, unless it's like some sort of private drone that somebody's like, oh, let me just, but then again, as I fly drones and you can't get them a certain foot, you really can't get them in any airspace at all when you're immediately near an airport. And I'm especially certain if the president's airplane's there. So
you fly drones?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Huh?
Tell me more. What does that mean? You fly drones?
I turn a drone on, and then I take my drone out and I fly my drone and get footage and stuff.
Footage of what?
The city. If I'm out somewhere, I took it with me when I went to Mexico a number of times. I took it with me to the alligator park, like just whatever. Who knows? Whatever. There was a tornado here last year. I took it down to the tornado wreckage and got good footage of like the apartment building where it was ripped off.
What do you do with that? What do you do with that footage?
Post it on the internet, sell it to Getty Images, whatever.
Oh, dang, how much money you make on that?
Not much at all. It's fun more than anything. Yeah. A couple bucks. But it's fun.
Don't get me wrong. I'd go for it. Fly drones. I think that's cool. I'm not saying you're weird. I'm not saying it's bad. I just didn't know that you fly. I don't know that I know anybody else that flies drones. You might be the only one.
No, I mean it's pretty. There's like a community, and you can so like my drone is a DJI. That's the brand. People say you shouldn't get it because it's made by China.
I hear DJIs are really good.
Maybe. I mean, it's nice. It's very nice. But they do competitions where you can like enter competitions and I don't know, enter your footage and you compete with other DJI drone flyers and stuff. So it's cool.
Okay.
So the PR team at the Pentagon is out in force, and they're saying it's a balloon.
A Chinese balloon?
I don't know. I don't know if it's Chinese, but headline of USA Today: UFO or balloon, unidentified object spotted over Air Force One, may have a simple explanation. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. The only photo I saw was the one in the article, so I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me.
And I think that's the other thing, right? I think we now, because aliens are so much in the news all the time, we automatically assume stuff as aliens. UFO technically just stands for unidentified flying object. So it really could be a balloon. It could be, I don't know what else. A drone, a pigeon.
I don't think it's a pigeon.
Give me a break, Charles. Maybe it's probably UFO. It's probably what's that guy's Venusian Thor? What the fuck was his name?
David Grush?
No, the guy that I sent y'all, the guy that was in the White House, the alien in the White House. What the
about?
Oh, that video you sent us.
Yes, the guy that I've been trying to remember on the show for weeks, and then I finally find something about him, and now I can't remember him again. Valiant Thor.
Valiant Thor.
You should look him up. He's an alien who's in the White House in the 60s. So, but Tucker Carlson has been all over this, as not this specific story, but all over aliens. He won't even tell his wife. And Michael defends this person on the regular, even though there's absolutely no reason to defend him. Tucker's being a fool. He's being a tool. If you got info, share it. Let us know. Don't say, it's so crazy. I can't even tell my wife. Bitch, why are you telling us that?
I know. I hate that stuff. Like, don't tease us. Just don't say it or say it. I know Michael feels differently. I just also am confused because Tucker spent all this time bringing all these UFO people on. Now he's like, it's not aliens, it's spirits. And I'm like, okay, well, which one is it? Because I definitely thought it was aliens. And I still do think they're aliens.
It's one and the same. What's the
difference between an alien and a spirit, really?
No, the theory is what we're seeing in the sky isn't actually things from other planets. It's things from other dimensions or other dimensions. I'll use the term dimensions.
Okay.
You're not actually, and this is a very common theory in the UFO world, is that what we're seeing is spirits. It's not aliens from another country or another planet, not country, but planet.
So what is a spirit in this case?
I don't know.
Michael, you're saying, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What are they trying to convey when they say that? Like, it's not actually an alien, it's a spirit. Does that mean that it's a ghost? Does that mean that it's an ethereal element they traveled through a tear in the time-space continuum, and it's wispy and waspy, and it doesn't have a solid form to it? There's no mass to it? Or does it mean something else? Is it an angel? What does that mean? When you think of it, what does it mean?
See, this is the hesitation that Tucker probably has, and even I have, and I'll say some wild shit. Like, no problem. I don't think we know. The theory is, okay, I posted on Twitter the other day. Imagine if there's a sixth sense that human beings don't have access to.
Okay.
We'd be running around the world looking at the world as if we're missing a sense, as if all humans had no eyes or no ears. We could be that shut off from reality.
Sure.
Out in the world, that we have a sense that we can't pick up on things. And maybe whatever they are, the UFOs or the spirits, are just, they're revealing themselves in our way of perceiving the world, which is sight.
So you're saying we live among them, but we just don't see them.
Correct.
And so we're all in the store together. We're like all in HEB, but like we're just like we because we don't have that sense. We're not a part of that world.
I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying that is a theory, and it seems to me that's where Tucker Carlson is hinting at, because I've gone down this rabbit hole and I sent you guys that video. You got to listen to that guy. I mean, it's 3 hours long. It's Danny Jones. I'm going to listen to it. This guy talks about it a lot, and he's like interacted with these things according to him.
Well, how do you open your third eye? Like, how do you get that sixth sense?
I don't
like,
know.
How did he get it?
Well,
or
if we
some
assume,
people just have it?
well, he tells the whole story of, and we don't need to go down this rabbit hole, but he tells his whole story on that podcast. When he's first exposed to. No, he was like some.
I'm joking. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, but that he has interactions with them all the time, and it could be the same phenomenon as ghosts that lots of people have interactions with.
I've seen them.
Maybe we're talking about the same things, or maybe they're aliens from some far off star and they actually are that. Or maybe it's both.
I guess let Charles get away with saying that he's seen ghosts and not tell us about it.
Well, okay, but first, Michael, okay, so I'm getting what you're saying about Tucker. Tucker's not saying that aliens don't exist. He's saying that what we perceive to be aliens, which are these creatures from other worlds, might not actually be aliens. The aliens might just be spirits from our world that are in a different dimension.
Yep.
Okay. And yes, I saw ghosts. I used to see ghosts a lot until I was about 10 or maybe not 10, maybe a little younger than that. But yeah, I used to see ghosts when I was a kid all the time. And it was so strange. And I wasn't scared of them until a certain point. And then suddenly I got scared of them. I don't know why. But yeah, I used to tell my parents all the time. I'd be like, oh, do you see that guy sitting right there? Or like, do you see that person who just came through the door? And my mom would be like, who? Like, and she'd be like, and I'd be like, that person right there. Do you not see them? And then one night, I mean, she believed me, I think, but when she really believed me, it was one night I was laying in bed. Me and my brothers had bunk beds. My brother had a bunk bed. He was on the top bunk bed. I was on the bottom. And there was a door in our room that was like straight ahead. So I'm like laying down and like I'm looking at the door and there's these two people standing in the doorway and it's like 3 a.m. or something. And I'm just like looking at them and I see the woman. She's like in this like long dress. She has this like hat on. It looks like she's dressed from like the 50s. The guy's in this suit with this nice top hat. And I'm just staring at them. And they're just standing there doing nothing. And then I go to sleep, wake up, and I explain them to my mom. And the guy was my grandmother's father, so my great-grandfather, who passed away well before I was born. I'd never even seen a picture of him at this point. And he was wearing what he wore when they buried him. And then the woman was my great-grandmother who died his wife, who died in a house fire that he tried to save. And he had burns all over him because he ran in the house to try to save her and he wasn't able to save her. But he saved my grandma and my grandma's 2 sisters, and she died in this house fire. And that was, and I described her, and I'd never seen either of them. I never saw a picture of them until after the description, never saw what the clothes they were wearing. But my grandma was like, oh, that's something that she used to always love to wear or something like that. And so it was just, I used to see them all the time, in the kitchen, in the house, outside, just all over the place.
Did they ever interact with you besides just looking at you?
No, it was always just kind of like they were just there and like maybe they'd walk past or like but no, they would never interact with me. It was interesting because like I knew that they like weren't, I don't know, like I knew that there was not another person in the room with us, but like I could clearly see this person and it didn't freak me out. So it was really weird. But no, never interacted with me, never like knocked anything over or like knocked on the wall, like nothing like that. It was just they were just there walking by or standing there or whatever. And then after a while, I don't know if it was after that experience that I explained vividly to my parents and my grandparents, but shortly thereafter, like I got scared of them and I just stopped seeing them entirely.
Maybe you had sense.
How old were you when you stopped?
It was somewhere between like the ages of like 8 and 10, something like that. So it's still very young, but yeah.
I totally believe that stuff. And interestingly, after we had this conversation, I got a call from a very close family member, which I'm not going to say who it was on the podcast, but her and her kid have been experiencing some similar things as of very recently. And they're both seeing it. And it's, man, I totally believe that stuff. So to tie it all up, are those the same phenomenon would be where I think Tucker is going with the UFO thing? Like those are the same phenomena.
Well, I mean, I guess if I believe that, I can believe that. So yeah,
those are two different phenomena. Charles seeing a ghost and Charles seeing an alien. Aliens as we are supposed to perceive them as, either little green men or grays or whatever the hell. There's a bunch of different races. Those are two different phenomena. I think Charles would probably agree. Hey, there's a ghost right there and there's an alien right there. Right?
Yes. But maybe what Tucker's saying is that aliens aren't little green men. Like maybe he's saying they look like us. They're just not. I don't know what he's saying because he won't tell us, but like maybe he's saying they're not, because like maybe our perception of what an alien isn't what an alien actually looks like. And I don't know. But yes, I have the same thing like a Martian with the hat or the bubble around its head. Like that's what I think of when I think of alien, and maybe that's not what it is.
You think of Mars attacks.
It doesn't address the Grush allegations, the Virginia case, the Roswell case, where there are people talking about seeing what we perceive as aliens. The spiritual explanation doesn't explain those limited number of cases where there's actually bodies of little green or gray men.
Okay. What time is it? 11:45. Charles,
gotta get that haircut.
I didn't want to say anything, but your hair is looking really
by the minute. It looks so different than when we started 52 minutes ago too.
I mean, I actually know how you feel as a bald man who shaves his head. I know when it's long, and people are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Right. I think when your hair's shorter, you notice much quicker than when your hair is longer. Yes.
But I think it's worse for me, to be honest. Worse for me than it is for you.
I don't know. I mean, people don't call you out when you don't have like a crisp shape up. Like I'll get called out real fast.
How do you know they don't call me out?
Do you get a shape up when you get your haircut?
Excuse me?
I don't even know what form your hair grows in. Like, so do you get a shape up? Like, or is it just?
I'll tell you right now, you will never know because I take care of it, and you will never see it. This is the most hair you'll ever see right here.
Yep. See, that's it.
Pretty soon, all this is going to be gone. This little gray that you see on my chin, that's going to be gone. And it's just going to be this fucking bad boy. This bad boy bigote.
Great. It'll be great for our viewers.
I mean, it's going to be great for some of them. I guarantee it. They're going to be dreaming about it. I promise. Whenever I grow my mustache out and have it like out in the public, I'll get a compliment probably every single day from a dude. And like chicks never say anything, and that's fine. Like I'm not doing it for compliments, but guys will be like, "Your fucking mustache rocks, bro." I'm like,
keep it up.
Hey, thanks, man. It's cool, I guess. I mean, it's whatever. People are being nice. Whatever. You want to pay me a couple?
Maybe they're hitting on you. Quick fire before we say goodbyes and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all the good things, Happy New Year. Is the Epstein client list going to be released on January 1st? Yes or no?
Not all of it.
Yes, with exception. Yeah, same.
Okay.
I mean, but who gives a shit? It's not going to be the good. It's not going to be
the good ones are going to be removed. Yeah, like
Bill Gates' name isn't going to be on there. It's going to be fucking like some janitor or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
Or people that are, they're. It's going to be like Nick Cannon.
B and C list celebrities, and like
people that are already been canceled. Their use is up, so they don't. Who gives a shit? Let's put them out.
Yeah.
But if you want to know the Epstein client list, isn't it out there? You don't need them to tell you. You just go look at it. Hasn't that been already released?
I don't know that that's a real one that floats around. I think that's something somebody just made up. Because I've seen it too with like Beyonce and Jay-Z and this and that. And they like all these. I think that somebody just put that together.
Oh, you don't think Beyonce and Jay-Z went?
I mean, maybe they did. I don't know. I'm just saying. I think the list that we all see is just. Good Lord.
Hova. Isn't that what he said?
Hova? Yeah.
Yes, that is what Hove. And well, he says both, but yes.
Yeah. H to the Izzo. Have a Merry Christmas, Charles.
Thank you.
Travel safe. Brad.
You too.
You too.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas. I hope that it's a wonderful Christmas for y'all. We got a special guest next week, by the way. So
yes, tune in.
Follow and subscribe.
Are we supposed to? Yes, follow and subscribe. Do all that stuff. The buttons are down there. You've been on YouTube before, but we have to remind you because that's what the algorithms tell us to do, or the advice. the websites. Go, subscribe, notify, do all of it. Share it with friends.
Be a sheep and listen to everything we tell you to do.
I'm here for the goats.
And tune in next week.
Is that a goat? Oh.
Whole time.